TikTok family, what's good with y'all? What's good with y'all? I know I was supposed to do this video starting with Genesis, but I just got some news about this whole Drewski thing. I don't know if you guys saw my video. That was my first video actually about the skit, the BET skit with Drewski. They are roasting him. The black Christian or Baptist Christian community is killing him. They feel like he totally desecrated the church. They feel like he disrespect Jesus. They feel like, oh man, it's looking crazy. It's looking crazy. I didn't really expect this, but why wouldn't I expect this? A hit dog gonna holler. It's just like, in my opinion, he was not going crazy on. He wasn't disrespecting the church. He wasn't disrespecting God or Jesus or anything. He's disrespecting these ministers. I just saw this one video where one of the ministers actually tried to lock his congregation inside the church until he got $10,000. Like, nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about all of these dark themes that they got on BET. As far as oh man, I can't remember what you call his name. I can't remember her name. Taraji. That dark black mass she did on BET, and Will Smith's dark theme that he did. Nobody's saying nothing about that. Nobody's saying nothing about, these secular artists doing doing music videos and songs with gospel artists and rap artists and all the rest of that. Like, if you know the gospel, you're supposed to separate yourself from that. You separate the goats from the sheep, so to speak. I mean, I thought we all knew this. This is what I'm talking about, you guys, about understanding what Christianity is. This is what I was trying to say about Christianity and what it's turned into. Like, I just don't understand it. Like, our people, especially now, I'm speaking for my people, because that's what I'm focused on. I'm focused on my people. I'm focused on the church that I was raised in. It's changed. It's changed since I was a kid. Like, it was bad when I was a kid. I told you guys, if you watch my videos, go back and watch my videos about not wanting to go to church and faking asthma attacks and getting panic attacks and all that stuff trying to go to church. Like, it was bad when I was going to church. I remember going to tent revivals and, these so-called ministers, they're trying to get the evil spirit out of you, and they're making people jump up out the wheelchair and all the rest of that. I've always known it was a scam. Like, nobody cares about this type of stuff. Like what happens to people's brains? I just don't understand it when it comes to this. I heard, I'm not going to say his name, but one of the YouTubers I watch, he said that, Christians that, do all this Bible thumping are insane. He's like, he says that he's read the Bible from cover to cover and it's all fiction. This is what this guy says. And he's black, he's rich. And, I just was like, okay, just a little off topic, but I'm just going to say his name. I don't know if you guys know Marquette. I forgot his last name. Black dude. He's really intelligent dude. He debates these guys all the time. He seems like he's in the manosphere, but he's not in the manosphere. I don't really know what he is. To me, he's just a capitalist. But he's really, really smart. This dude is super intelligent. He's some type of tech specialist, making his money doing that. Got all kinds of other businesses going. This dude is like super smart. So, but he says that, you're insane if you think that the Bible is real. He had a guy call in and he debates this guy. This guy's like, our black Americans in this country the real Jews. And he's like, well, what's going to happen if you guys find out you the real Jews? And my man couldn't really explain himself, like, what would be the difference? He kind of got into the fact that, okay, well, we'll know our lineage and we'll know something about ourselves that they kept away from us. So Marquette was just like, but what is that going to change today? He was like, well, it's kind of like, the guy that was debating Marquette. He was like, well, it's kind of like finding out who your father is. And Marquette was like, oh, that's a terrible analogy, because if you find out who your father is and your father is rich, you're entitled to money right now. If you find out that you're a Jew right now, what exactly will change? And I'm kicking myself because I'm like, well, no matter what you find out about yourself is going to change you, because now you're going to mentally identify with that which you found out what you were, especially if you find out without a shadow of a doubt what you are. Of course, it's going to change you. It's not going to be a financial change. I wanted to say to Marquette, like, everything is not financial. Like, what does it mean to really be super rich? Everybody make this whole big giant thing about being super rich. I remember when my grandfather, I said the same thing to my grandmother, and she had a really unique way of explaining herself with asking you a question that you would ask yourself. So I'm like, Grandma, like, I am so tired of being broke. And she like, oh, why are you complaining? You complaining all the time. And she said something to me that's, I'll never forget. She said, well, what's wrong with being broke? I'm like, are you kidding me, Grandma? Like, we're supposed to be Christians. We're supposed to, Granddad, he's at church every day. He's a minister. He's doing all this stuff for the sick and all the things that he's doing. I'm like, why is it that people that do sin are rich? She didn't answer the question. She did answer the question, but she answered with a question. You know what the question was? Very simple. What makes you think that being rich is so good? I said, Grandma, that's obvious. What are you talking about? She asked me another question. You know what the question was? Have you ever been rich before? And then she walks away and ignores me because she's irritated with me. So I'm just like, I know my grandmother and I'm not going to press her. She's working in the garden. And I'm trying to help her work with the garden. So I just, I'm aggravated. She's aggravated. And I did not understand what she was talking about. I'm like, in my mind, no disrespect to my grandmother. God rest her soul. I love her and miss her so much. I'm thinking, she's just old. She don't know. And we're not rich, but my grandfather really provided a great life for all of us. I miss my grandfather so much too. God rest his soul. But, we're all living in houses that he's paying for. My mother is, she's divorced from my father. My father is took care of her financially, but my mother never made a lot of money. My grandfather pretty much took care of her when she got divorced from my father. My father took care of the bills at home. Plus, I'm pretty sure he was giving her alimony, even though he filed for divorce. But I know for a fact my father was taking care of us. I know he was taking care of us. So, but she never was making a lot of money. My point is, we weren't doing bad. We weren't doing bad at all. But to me, of course, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I'm just looking at what's around me, basically. And I'm thinking that everybody else got this type of money. I'm looking at what my friend's parents' cars are driving. I mean, what kind of cars they're driving. My mother drove a little Chevy Chevette. My grandfather never would get, a really expensive car. He would only buy a car probably once every 10 to 15 years, because he didn't want anybody to think that he was siphoning money from from the church, because he was a minister and actually owned New Hope Baptist Church. So he never wanted anybody to think he was misappropriating funds, and he always wanted to, show some level of integrity. So he would only buy a car once every 15 years or so. And 15 years like that, being honest, I only remember him buying one new car. Being honest, there again, he died when I was probably, I was in my second. He married me the first time. Second time, I think I was in my 30s when he died. My late I think I was in my late 30s when he died. I honestly, I could remember two. No, he had actually two cars. In the whole time that I've known him, he had two cars, and both cars were Cadillacs. But my grandfather was doing good. Make a long story short. But this is what I come from. I come from a family of integrity. So when I see these, ministers glorifying all this money, I know what my grandmother was talking about. Like, when you have money like that, and before I get to this, I'm just going to say what this dude Marquette said. He says, okay, well, why do all the white people have money? What did being Christian or being religious do for you in slavery? How has Donald Trump's family got so much money and they don't have any type of religious background? And I'm saying to myself, Marquette, are you freaking kidding me? First of all, Donald Trump and his family are Anglo-Saxon white people. They have a big head start on us being over here. There was a thing called guns, and those guns and the warring mentality of the Europeans are what colonized us. Like, are we going to say it's our fault they colonized us? And us as foundational black people have gone through the worst Holocaust and slavery in world history. And look where we are as people. I mean, Marquette is totally rich. We went from being, slaves and going through the worst Holocaust and the worst slavery in world history to being the greatest nation of people in the world. I mean, we got Michael Jackson. You understand what that is? We got Michael Jackson. Like, you say what it is, but like, God has done something for us. We couldn't have done that on our own. And that being said, like my grandmother said, what is the big deal about being rich? You think Donald Trump really cares about being rich? Donald Trump was rich all his life. Like, what does it mean to have a yacht to Donald Trump? What does it mean to travel the world to Donald Trump? That is nothing to him. There's no difference between having a Rolls Royce and having a Honda Accord. The only difference is it costs way more money for an alternator for a Rolls Royce. You understand what I'm saying? Like, all of this having money and all of this stuff that these ministers glorify is just, what's the word I'm looking for? It's vanity. It's vain. The word vain means empty. And that's exactly what it is. It's emptiness that these guys are going at. And I'm just like appalled to see. I don't know why I'm appalled. What the hell am I even surprised about? Like, a hit dog gonna holler. Like, and this is what these so-called, and it's just like black people are always attacking black people. No matter what it is, they're always attacking. So since he had something to say, and since it was funny, rather than them laugh at themselves, oh, they wanna destroy this man's career.
For what?
So we can worship and revere Bishop Lamar Whitehead and TD Power Pop Bottom Jakes? Like, is that what we're doing? Is that what we're doing? We just love to glorify these. I don't look. Can I call them dirt bags? Like I don't. They're gonna jump down my throat. They're gonna think I'm dissing them. They're gonna think I'm doing something wrong. It's just amazing to me how like when they see people doing wrong, everybody sides with these people. It's just amazing. I guess it goes down that it's that adage. You know, my son asked me, why is it that people that do evil just do so much better than people that are trying to do good? And just like I tell my son, doing evil is basically the wages of sin is death. When you going towards death, it's like going down a hill because everything is dying from the time it's being born. It's easier for something to sit there and rust than it is to wash and clean something and keep it pristine. It's easier to get out of shape than it is to get in shape. It's easy to lose a lot of money than it is to gain a lot of money. And it's easier to do wrong and get glorified in this world than it is to do the right thing and nobody knows it. That's just the way it is. That's why I was telling you guys before. I am not expecting to get a lot of views or any type of reputation on TikTok, YouTube, or any one of these other things. Only thing I really want to do is free up my time so I have enough time to do what I believe that God has called me to do. And when I get somebody like Marquette that's going to call me insane because I say that I believe that God has spoke to me and called me to do something and I'm being obedient to him, I don't really care. And, I expect for everybody to treat me that way. But guess what? I know that God gonna take care of me. I know that. Just like my grandmother said, have you ever been rich before? No. And what I didn't realize is I was already rich because I had family. I had people that loved me, people that cared about me. I had a good spiritual background. I didn't have a whole bunch of nonsense going on. We didn't have a whole bunch of nonsense going on in our life. I thought we had such a boring life. We would have cookouts and there was no music at our cookouts. None. We just sat there and we talked. Like I said, my family would, I get in trouble for not doing well in school, and they'll send me go down and work on my aunt's plantation. I thought that was the craziest thing in the world. But guess what? That type of work built me up. And my aunt was rich because she had a plantation. Did it look like she was rich? No. In my mind, I'm like, this is a plantation? Like, this is what it is? It looked like a house with a big yard. It looked like she had a lot of land, and she had pigs, chickens, goats, and that was pretty much it. I think we had pigs, chickens, goats, and then we had carrots, and we had all type of other stuff. It was like a big giant garden with a couple of animals in it that was kind of like pets that we slaughter and eat. And I'm like, really? Not knowing that she was extremely rich. She owned the plantation that her family was slaves on. Like, that's amazing. How is it that God didn't bring us through that? And these are the things that happen when you worship the Most High the right way. And what you get when you follow these ministers down the, you get death. And all of this stuff that you get, like Marquette, like he said, what is all that done for you? Marquette, what is this doing for you? What is it really doing for you? You really happy driving that Ferrari? I know for a fact, I did a lot of detailing for a living. I was really good at it, and I thought it paid pretty good, but it really don't pay pretty good because all the work that it takes to do, and you really not getting paid for that unless you really able to charge. That being said, I worked on Ferraris. I worked on Rolls Royce trucks. I worked on all kind of exotic cars. These cars have problems that you can't imagine. Not to mention, you think a guy that owns a Bugatti, that's his only car? No, he has a fleet of cars. All of these cars have to be maintenance. Do you guys know that you cannot let a car sit anywhere for any amount of time because all the fluids and everything have to keep moving? That car has to keep moving. Now, if you got 20 cars, you got to keep them all maintenance. You're going to have to pay it almost like you have a mechanic shop that you're not making money off of. All it's doing is hemorrhaging money. And when you're constantly hemorrhaging money, just like you see that huge place that Rick Ross got. It's Evander Holyfield's old spot. That huge place that he got. Do you know what it's like to have to maintain that? He said, you got to save a little money by actually cutting the grass. Really? You see how many acres this man got? Come on, man. You can't, you're not cutting that grass on your own. You're going to have to hire a whole fleet of people just to maintain that home, just to clean the bathrooms. He's one man. Like, what do you need all of that for? For what? So you can say, nah, I got it and you don't? That's what this is about? I just saw, the other day. You guys look it up for yourself. This is the second time that he's on the red carpet with a girl that refuses to kiss him in public. What is all the money for? You really think this man is happy? He's getting clowned because he flew first class. I know that sounds crazy, but he's supposed to have a jet. But guess what? He can't keep that jet in the air. You know how much it costs to keep the jet in the air? First of all, just to gas it up, pay the pilot, and get where you gotta go is crazy amount of money. Then you gotta pay for it to stay maintained. What is it really to have all of this money that everybody is glorifying, family? My TikTok family, I want you guys to think about this. Look, I used to go to New York all the time back in the day when I was in the street. And so, I got to know a few people in Tribeca and a couple of places. I can't say I ever been in the house in one of their homes, but I know what those homes look like on the inside. They're mansions in the sky. And I remember going inside just the vestibule of one of these people's houses. And with the doorman and all the rest of that stuff. Listen, man, having money is something else. Like, it's something else. That's all I gotta say. Like, it is not happiness. It's only perceived to be that way because you don't have it. But it is not happiness. Trust me when I tell you. Okay, you got a watch that costs $10,000. So what? Somebody else got a watch that costs $100,000. So what, you gonna run out and get a watch that costs $100,000? Somebody gonna call you broke if you don't. That's happiness to y'all? Really? That's happiness to y'all? Rupert Murdoch, he refuses to move out of his. I think it's a $500,000 house, or it's $1 million home. Like, you know what that $1 million home is? He's a multi-billionaire, but he keeps his money wrapped up in his family trust. He only pays himself a very small amount of money just to keep going. And he lives in the house and just lets his family trust grow. And then guess what? He refuses to will the money to his family in more than a very small amount. I can't remember what the exact amount is, but it's a very small amount. Do you know why Rupert Murdoch is like this? Because he understands that money will destroy you. Money will destroy you. I just saw the other day where what's my man's name from Wild 'N Out? Oh man, I know you guys know what his name is, so I just keep it moving. I just drew a blank. But anyway, he had a Nigerian investor that just beat him for $2 million. Just ran off with the money, went to Nigeria. Now he's in another country. He'll never see that money again. Kevin Bacon with the whole Bernie Madoff thing got beat for $100 million. Why does this happen, you guys? It's because they can't handle the money. You see all of these people going to jail for tax evasion and all of this. You think it's just because they can't handle the money? No, it's because you guys, and I'm not going to say you guys, we don't understand what it is to have $100 million sitting around. First of all, what do you do with $100 million? You can't put it in the bank. The bank only going to insure up to $100,000. So what are you going to do with it? That's a problem in itself. Then once you do, I'm going to tell you what they do with it. They don't freaking know what to do with it. They don't know what to do with it. So you hire somebody to manage your money. And that same person you hire to manage your money robs you blind. You ain't going to see it. If you making, if you're, okay, what's my man's name? I can't remember the boxer's name. I don't know why I keep drawing blanks. I need to calm down. This type of stuff pisses me off. Like, I can't believe these people are like this. Mayweather. Okay? Mayweather, you see, he's going through all kind of money problems, right? Then what he going to do? He go and, he go and side with Israel. He donates all this money to them and all the rest of this stuff, And I get it. I understand he was thinking like, okay, I'm going to side with them because I see that they're going through a lot of issues. I see that everybody hates them. So he tries to befriend them, which I understand. But you don't know these people. Just because they're Jews don't mean they're good people. Just because we're Christians don't make us good people. Just because a person is a Satan worshiper doesn't make him a bad person. You can't label people like that. So he gets with some people that he thinks are good, and what they do, they rob him blind. Guess why they robbed him blind? You know why they robbed him blind? Because they saw him as a weakness. He don't know what it is to have he don't know, even though he has all of this bread, all his money, he wasn't raised with this type of money. He doesn't know the game. Having money is an art. It takes years, generations to know how to deal with money. It takes years and generations to know how to put together a family structure and a nation of people that are around you that are going to handle it. You have to know how to handle major losses. who to talk to, what lawyers to have, and all the rest of this stuff. Look, I'm about to land this plane with this and calm down. Like I said, Drewski wasn't wrong for making fun of these people. He was not wrong. There was, just like you saw him go, he was flying down on this wire. You know a minister really did that in the church? You know there are really ministers that have pyrotechnics and all type of stuff in their church? You know there are ministers that really have ATMs in their church? Do you understand what this whole, what is it? Sow a seed, reap a harvest ministry is all about? It's a scam. You're scamming poor people that need their money. You're not giving anything back to the community. You're not creating any grocery stores or any type of infrastructure that helps these communities, helps build a community. You tell me, and look, black folks, I'm talking to you right now. Tell me what kind of community you have. Where's your community? You have a neighborhood. And guess what? In your neighborhood, you don't speak to your neighbors. This is what we have. The church used to be the center of the community. This used to be where we did our politics. This used to be where we fixed all our problems. This used to be where you went when you couldn't pay your light bill, or when you went through a bad divorce and didn't have nowhere to live, or when your family, your kids needed a babysitter that you could trust. This is what the church once was. Now, what we got now? And you think Drewski is not supposed to shine a light on these people and shame them? Of course he is. I'm gonna land my peace and blessings, TikTok. Stay tuned for we're gonna get started on Genesis. But I didn't get the video done, and I apologize to you guys, but I definitely get started with tomorrow. Don't forget Plain Planet. The inspiration behind the drops is coming. It's not just some flat earth conspiracy theory. It's the idea that your vision in life belongs to you. You don't have to believe something that you've learned in school. You don't have to believe something that science tells you is true. You can believe what you want to believe. You could be who you want to be. This is the essence of Plain Planet. Plain Planet is a clothing line. It's a Christian clothing line on top of it that you can actually wear and be proud of. This ain't churchy or Bible thumping. This is a quality streetwear brand. This is Plain Planet. Clothing you can believe in.
Dreams come true, and I wonder if you know. Find your dreams come true, and I wonder